Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Space Engineers. I am your host, Quantum Tater. Quantum Tater, say hello. See if I can do it fast. All right. Oop, I got two injuries in the making of that hello. Last time on Quantum Does Europe? No. Last time we took out the Elder Dagron for its maiden voyage, and it did some work. Shot some things, blew some stuff up. And there was some talk about whether or not I was damaging myself. And these go through a block, so it's possible they could have been self-inflicting damage. And then perhaps maybe the turrets were also self-inflicting some damage. I don't think that is the case, but it's possible. We also set off to get the Malaphor completely and utterly finished, and it looks as if while we were out playing, the Malaphor may have. Oh, I'm seeing a hole. The Malaphor may have completed. Honestly, it looks done. Look, we got our lights there. This is still incomplete as it was. All of that has been done. Yeah, it looks like the Malaphor completely finished while we were away working very hard for the man. So one of the things I was going to do today, it's going to be kind of a short one and a weird one today. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is. I didn't really have a thought about. I had planned. There was sprite approaching us, but it disappeared. I also did some different things. Let's go over here. If you come down to here, I changed this up to the scaffolding blocks instead of just the other guys that were just the walkways. I liked the way these looked, and I thought like, oh, that'd be a good idea. So I created these. You can go running through them. And, no accidentally, I mean, you can jump off into space right here, but for the most part, good. And I was actually even thinking about having it trail out to be able to get to that guy over there, but we're not going to do that today. What I wanted to do, just to take a brief memento, is I was going to turn off all the bobs. Let's go here. Oh, this doesn't heal you, so we have to go upstairs to our med bay. The med bay. Please wait. There's a really cool. I think I want to like. Oh, which way's in, which way's out? I don't know. So what I was thinking about. I can take a seat right here, and we just, look around at the world as we know it. No. One of the things I was thinking about doing today. So first of all, Clyde mentioned that he could hear me, so he appreciated me for that. And he said that it looked like I specifically made that little spot for the Googler. And I didn't, but I'm glad that it does tuck in nicely right there. It is very convenient. Hopefully it's not slowly losing power as it sits there turned off. And then Lord Chaos was the one who mentioned that I may have been shooting myself. I don't think I was. I don't know, is to tell you the truth. So if we go around to the front really quick though, and I fire, it doesn't look like any damage was done, but it's hard to tell. And what I wanted to do, let's go ahead and turn off the bobs. You're not needed right now, bobs. Mr. Bray said, thanks for christening the ship with my Clang Cola. And that's why it made so much noise, because it was a Clang Cola. It was loud. It was very loud. So off stream, I did some of the railing and stuff. I did that. And I also got the cargo stuff sorted here so that the only cargo that has stuff on the ED anyways is our all the ammunitions and things like that, explosive stuff and parts will be stored inside this cargo container as opposed to like in all the extremities. And the reason we're doing that is specifically because I don't want this ship to take a hit under this thing and a bunch of ammo explode, things of that nature. Yeah, and I did label this as no IIM using the square brackets, not the curly brackets, and that stops the base Izzies from draining stuff out of it, is the intent with that feature there. Excuse me. So let's see. I sorted out the cargo stuff a little bit. I did not make a special. I didn't do the special sorting. I went ahead and fixed it so that it wasn't pulling stuff from every which way, and so the base Izzy's was not taking a bunch of things from there. And then Chad said basically build up, make the changes I need, and adjust as I go. Don't go after the biggest fish first. Build up defenses, strengthen, and then go befriend the Factorum aggressively. And then he said if I do decide to add the assert mod, um, the occasional upgraded thruster could be really useful. The only problem with assert is once we get rolling and the assert starts noticing us, they start noticing us a lot. And so, yeah, that's what that's kind of about. And then, with the aid of Bob, Bray also said that the ship held up well in combat. And then he was talking about gunner drones that I could undock and to sort of take fire and distract and do things like that. Um, and then also lamented that the assert mod is fun, but once you start messing with them, they don't leave you alone. And on the plus side, it gives you an option for SOS or ship ownership swapping. So, yeah, I turned off the bobs because what I was going to do today, like I said, this is going to be a weird kind of short one. I wanted to do a couple of things. I wanted to build a little installation. I was thinking about this the other day, and let's go ahead and get a platform down. And we're going to try to do this in a way that, oh, I guess I can. No, I need to go this way. So my thought, my brain had this idea, like because I was having so many troubles with Izzy, I thought, you know what I would need is what if there was a way to not have to deal with the Izzy's crud. And by that I mean basically that with Izzy's the way it be, like instead of messing with it, what I could do is I could potentially just use sorting. And I've messed with sorting before, and I really rather enjoyed it. But yeah, so I was thinking I could do like a little tutorial-esque thing, or not even tutorial because I'm not sure I understand it quite well. But basically build out like almost like a little outpost, like something that could like plop down on the ground somewhere, and I could put up a blueprint, and then I could build a base for space. Oh, that's weird. Why didn't that? That was strange. Yeah. So what I know about sorting, if I know anything, which is, it's fairly limited, but I had some other ideas too. So in addition to wanting to do the sorting thing, I thought it would be interesting to take the idea of this cargo container right here and hide some of the sorting materials inside that. So like basically what we would do is we would probably knock out that hole there, right there, right there. There we go. Do stuff like that. And then we take this, we would go down like that, and then we would say we probably want, we could just do a regular cargo container. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna do a C. I want it to be airtight. The airtight is hard to do with these blocks. I think that makes it airtight because it can't seep out, but in the event that it could, that's one thing that can cause a problem if you don't have all of the blocks facing the exact same way. So that's a thing that you gotta like. These blocks are cool, but they're very hard to make airtight. Now here's what I know about sorters. If you want the sorter to be effective, you need two, effectively. You need an in and an out for it to really work the way you want it to. So let's see, we need to get the sorter box, which is this one, right? Oh, that's a sorter container. I want this one. This one's much cooler. So the arrows are what dictate which direction the sorter runs. So if we boop, 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 that means it's running in, which means this one would want to run out. Okay. And just for fun, we're going to throw down a battery real quick so that we have some juice. And then, so what we would then do is we would do like this. We already got the sorter out. And then if we wanted to keep with these blocks, that's not working the way I want it to. Please hold. Okay, so all of that was correct what I just said, despite my brain having a momentary lapse. So what we could do, we want to make sure it's airtight. So we do like this, and then Here we go. And I think that would maintain airtightness. Double check down here. Yes. This maintains airtightness, so if we're in a place like Mars or whatever, that keeps us from getting over whatevered. And then we're going to put this here for a second. So then the sorters, as previously noted, would be, we need one that goes in, one that goes out. And then they both can recoalesce into this shape here. And I'm trying to think if there's a way to... Okay, so we do like that, and then all of that is connected. And then let me see. This is where the challenge was going to come from, trying to make it look like a cargo container. And I think what we could do, we could have them like staggered, right? So let's find our metal plate. I think, let's go here. We're gonna do, I don't need the rocket launcher right now. I need light armor. And then we're gonna choose a green cargo container, and we want the corrugated metal. So here's what I was thinking. So obviously we've got, the containers need to have probably 2 rows. We could do one giant container, like, okay, this is one big container that we've got. And do like that. Oh, can it not go there? Really? Aha. Shows you what you know. You know nothing, Jon Snow. Oh, they're off center now. It's because that they're occupying the outside block of this. So if we do this guy here and we and I can pop that one off. Pop that one off. These are kind of weird. It's like I understand what's happening in these things, but the occupied space or whatever is a weird one for me because it's like, okay, which space is it occupying? And then see, like this one can't occupy this space because there's a block already there, which means nope. Let's see if I can get that to do that right there, and then we can do this block here. Same exact thing. We want to come up like that, and then we're gonna need so okay, so we got this cargo container, and it looks kind of meh. We could do. It's too big, I think. If I could get, it's too big. But I like the idea of like, see, like we have these cargo containers, and we could even off-center them a bit so that like there's multiple types of cargo containers in different spots. Like, okay, say we have, get rid of that, get rid of that. We do this, this right here, and then we'd obviously want to have, nope, 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 nope. Come on, quit doing that. So then we do like an orange cargo container. We need to go back to this color here. And then we do 9, 4, 2, 3, 4. And then we can take that block there. See, and I think that's gonna be, I don't even know that I mind the way that looks right there. Okay, so we have these cargo containers. Anyways, see, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to get rid of that block. Oh my gosh. That block and that block, not that block. Or that block right there. Okay, so instead of having, so we see how this is staggered. Like if we're coming down here and we're looking at this, like, oh cool, stacked blocks, stacked cargo containers. And then obviously this block is not facing the right direction at all. I think the whole row is actually messed up right there. There would be some work to get that sorted. So, and then we have the access containers. Now I'm going to go ahead and knock off the top of this really quick just so I can get in and out of there really quickly. There might be a cooler way to do this, but right now, this is the way it's happening. So we've got our stacked cargo containers, and we could have this built permanently, and basically we could have the inlet happen. We could even have one giant cargo container. I don't think that looks too bad. And then lastly, we would come down here and we would say, okay, we want back to this color here, which is actually supposed to be white, not gray, but that's okay. I don't mind. This is just the concept of the cargo container itself. And this would be like a land base. So this is a lot of materials already. And I know I can probably shorten this up by including some interior blocks. And I might do that later, like we could fix it up. But we're going to continue this path. So we have an intake and outtake for this right here. And then we might have to copy it over for that right there. I don't know if we can duplicate it. But then you could have one more cargo container. Let's go ahead and delete that block out of there. And I don't know if we would need this many other than for style alone, but if we did like yellow cargo container, we need that. Sure, why not? And then that comes out to here, and we want a block, or not right there, block there, and then it doesn't really matter what color that block is right there. Well, it does if which one of these blocks is occupying the space? Okay, the orange one. So there you go. It's the whole thing. It's a whole thing, I gotta say. Gotta figure out which block is which. Oh, we want to.
Energy low.
This is very odd. Stacking these blocks is not a thing I would wish on my worst enemy because I don't know that I know how to do it properly. And my energon's low, just as per the usual. There we go. And so, yep, and then now it's doing that because, nope, put that there, which means this block's got to go, and then we can, oh, and now that block's off. Yeah, the whole thing is crazy. What color were we doing? This was orange, right? Yeah, so then we just have to, okay. We can achieve this process. We just have to make sure that we're occupying the same space. Not the same space. I don't know if we can stack them like this. I may be off on my game here. I may not be able to stack them the way I'd like to in this piece here. What if we stacked it? Oh gosh. Now I've gone and done it. Gone and done it. Must have fell in love. Okay. There we go. And then for this, because raisins, we got to go to green. Because I picked green right here, and that block has got to come up like this. So as long as they're all on different tiers of height, we can have, I don't need that. We can have it look like this. So then we can have these cargo containers. And now, I believe I used, I know, my energon's critical. Thank you, Janet. What did I use? I used the little corner pieces to look like it was attached. There we go. Of course, that's not going to work either because guess what is occupying that space? So we wouldn't be able to do this. I don't think we would be able to have these things on there. Even up top, I think. Oh, we could do that. Yeah, like that. Yeah, okay. So there's some possibility to do some different things. And it would take some shaping. I'm not going to really worry about that. But you kind of get the idea, right? So then inside this would be where all the happenings are going on. The goings-ons or happenings. I don't know. So let's go back to gray. And we need to pop up. Oh, and this is gonna make it more difficult, I imagine, because I mean, all this stuff could happen outside, I guess, right? There you go. Yeah, all of it could happen outside, I suppose. Why not even? Why not? I don't think there's any way to airtight this bad boy. We would definitely have to go with just a conveyor to make sure it's airtight to keep the boxes from being overrun with crap. And then, yeah, okay. And even if we needed to, we could use like regular blocks, full blocks for all that. Let's go back to none. No, I think we're clean
No
armor.
energy.
I know, no energy. Thank you for your information. Let's go over here and get some energy. I know you guys don't want to listen to me get yelled at by Janet for 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, so got ourselves the start of a base. Now, one of these would be components, one of these would be ingot storage or ore. Now, I was initially in my head when I had this vision, if you will, the ingot storage um, was going to be only ingot storage. I wasn't going to do like I wasn't going to I wasn't going to have like multiple like ore and all this different stuff, but I kind of think that I probably could have ore and other things. So what if we did, okay, we need this. Okay, and then same thing. We need 2 sorters. We need, oh, well, we're gonna need more than that. We're gonna need, I'm trying to think the most compact way to do this, and I think it would be this. Okay. So we have out, in, and then this guy coalesces back to so now the only thing I haven't really worked out, so that guy comes down, and let's say like that's probably not going to work, but let's say it comes out really quick, and then we have a connector. Just for the grins. Like I don't know where that would go, but so if we have this same thing here, I guess we could potentially. The only direction this can't route right here is up. Like so if we had this guy here, instead of that going down, we just laid out a connector up here. It could potentially be boxed in. This is why you lay the stuff out first. This can't route up, but if we did, like what if we did sort of like this is like an intermediary, right? And then we had one of these guys here. We do 9, and we'd want the full size guy, and we can absolutely cover this with. This is just going to be a gray one. We're just going to test gray here. So we absolutely. That's longer than most cargo containers, but you know what? That's okay. Because this is. I don't like that actually. I don't like those being there. So we're going to fix that way. I don't think that's going to go in between there because this shape. I don't know how I got it. Oh, there was a gap between. That's how. So let's assume. You know what they say about assuming, right? It makes someone named Yumi an ass. I don't know. I never met him, so I couldn't tell you. But I'm told that's what happens. I need the block to be right here. Like right on this edge. Right this edge right here. Why won't you build a block right here? There's just, I guess I can't place the block here? Is that what I'm seeing? What about right, oh, because that block, I bet you. Sure enough. So that means that block has to be, okay. God, these plates are hard to work with. I thought this was a cool idea. Now I'm thinking like, oh, this is not a cool idea anymore. This is an idea that's causing me great amounts of frustration. Yeah, they won't be able to be this close together, is what I'm learning. That's the answer we've all known to come and love. Or what? I don't know. Don't ask. Okay, so we have this block here. So okay, and then what we do, and now that I've done this, I need to get into this hole. Okay, so we've got this guy. Which direction is this guy facing? Do we know? He's facing. Okay, arrow's going. This is out and that's in. So we really quick we label this guy. Or out. Or in. Nope, that's good. Perfect. Okay, and then what we would do, so we come into here, and or out says we whitelist or. Okay. And then or in, we whitelist or. Now why are we doing or and or? That doesn't make any sense, right? That's kind of strange. Doesn't have a whole lot of sense to it. But bear with me, I promise. And we're going to do drain all for the or in. Okay, so now, these are not connected grids. But now, every time I dump in, so if we're, in theory, let's go ahead and, I need to go to full practice here. So we're just going to blindly, do I have a refinery somewhere? I do, 7, perfect. Beautiful. That's not what I want. This is not going to be what it looks like. I'm going to have to design this. I don't think I'm going to be able to design this in the way I wanted to this round, but that's okay. So what we do, oh, I think this is going to be on the wrong side of the loop here. Let's see. Okay. No. Before, let me think about this. So when I'm going to turn this guy off. Off. Okay. And then we're already down a battery, so let's the infinite power paradox is what's happened here. There we go. You're gonna get uranium. And then we're gonna say you can have 1,000. Spawn directly into object. There we go. We got juice. Now we're cooking. Okay. So we say so now in theory, because this is turned off right here, that this container, if I come here and I do 10 and I say let's just do cobalt because it takes a long time to process cobalt ore, we'll do 25,000. We spawn into object. The whitelist should immediately, I've put it inside the inset connector and it's immediately getting taken out. And if I come over here to this cargo container, I should see nothing but the 25,000 in there. Now, the thing is constantly draining all. So the ore thing is like trying to constantly do it. The other one, the out, is not set to drain all. So it shouldn't be going in here. Now, if I come over here and I turn this on, and I fall off the platform, we should see that the refinery is capable of refining. It's sitting here refining. It's doing the stuff. It's working. All the while, now there's nowhere to go because these things are only whitelisting. These are only whitelisting ores. So if we then add ingots to the, we say ore, and then we also need ingots. We will add ingots. And then to the ore in, we're only gonna have ore in. So now whitelisting out can be, well, we also need to, ore in's also gonna have to have ingots because we need the ingots to go somewhere specific. So we add that in. So now when this thing finishes, it should be immediately dumping everything into the large container. And then we should see, look, cobalt's here. And then unfortunately, because the way these things work, they constantly are feeding. And every time that stuff comes out, every time the material comes out and hits what this is doing is essentially allowing the system to, anything on this side of the system is allowed to access everything on the other side of the loop. If we crush this loop, and we now can go, come out here, we make a left turn, right, we have to delete that box, do that box, and and we're going to need an assembler, but we also are going to have to go, in hindsight, we could just do this right here. Okay. Let's do this. Whee! Okay. So now when that goes that way, got to connect to there. And then in this guy over here, we're going to have to do it some more creative. So out of that, oof, I added all this crap I really shouldn't have. That's my bad. So now that that's all good, this needs to be, we're only wanting components, but we can't necessarily only do components, and I'll tell you why. Because we're also going to need hand tools and ammo. These things all have to be added. Because if they're not, then what happens is all that stuff has no home to live in. So we got to do ammo, components, hand tools. And we add all of that. So now this has a, and this should have a drain all, so that it's constantly putting all the things in there. And then now what we have to do, if we test this in theory, is ice considered an ore? That's a question we should answer. Do we know, guys? We don't know. So it's F10, ice, ice, baby, and we spawn into object. It would appear that ice is considered an ore. Good to know. Good to know. Okay, now let's do...
Energy low.
I know, my energon's low. I appreciate you so very much. I'm trying to think. Assembler. So if we have an assembler here, and then we come over here and we say, okay, we need iron, nickel, we already have cobalt, what else? Uranium's one, I guess. We can spawn into there. Silver. Oh, silicon's a good, nope, we want wafers, ingots, gold, platinum. Boom. Okay, so if we get in there, now we should go, and we should be able to come over here, and we see all of these things, all these materials are now in this industrial cargo container, and that is what it be. And then this is constantly manufacturing, so because it's working, it's allowing that stuff to come out. Now, if I come in here and I say, okay, I need to put first. Let's get some speed on here because I want to be able to, you know, demonstrate this immediately. Got this guy there, this guy there, this guy there, and this guy there. Okay, beautiful. We got this. So then I'm saying, okay, you know what I need? I need 100 of these, 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 and sure, 100 of these. So I've blown through those. So this is able to collect the ore. It's able to take the ingots because it's going through the whole system. And then this system is allowing the components out. So this is saying, okay, all the components are being manufactured or being shot into this cargo container right here. And they're also going to be completely allowed to be accessible outside of this cargo container because I have an outgoing. So if we look in here and I see all of these items and they're constantly, unfortunately, constantly getting recycled because of the drain all thing. And I don't know if there's a way to keep that from happening. Like if I don't set drain all, will it drain them is the question. And we're going to test that right now. So let's go back over here and let's come here and we'll say, all right, let's not drain all. We don't want to drain all. And then we'll also not drain all the other thing. So let's just click this or in, not drain all. We'll turn that off. And then we'll say this is, we're just going to call it comp in just for sake of testing. Comp out. So now I should have nothing in my inventory that's of use. So then now if I say, okay, I really need another cargo container. No, I need another battery. And I don't have a battery. But what I do have is I have no components here. And see, the assembler is pulling all the stuff in. But see, it's not... Why did we stop? Is it because you're full? I think components in is going to have to be set... Because if we're looking here, you notice it is not pulling this stuff out. It's not pulling it. So if we come to control panel and we say comp in, we set to drain all, suddenly production's going to kick back on. Why? Because comp in. What do I not have enough of? Oh, cobalt. You know what? Let me... Now we're gonna test this the hard way. Okay, I need another one of these, and I need to turn off comp in for drain all. Comp in, drain all is turned off. Let me... Cobalt, I know we're manufacturing cobalt, so I shouldn't need to do this, but let's just spawn there. So, in theory, this should be pulled out and immediately sent to that refinery, but it is not. Because the... Is my understanding, it is because the... not the refinery, the thing is not on, it's not the first endpoint. Okay, so it's not set to drain all, and therefore this isn't draining all. So if let's say I want another 100 of those, another 100 of those, 100 of these, 100 of these, 100 of these, 100 of these, and I'm building them, this is eventually going to fill up and get stuck because that drain all is not happening. So then how do we get it to drain all without leaving drain all on? That's the question. Because if I come into ore in and I absolutely turn on drain all, guess what happens? This magically gets drained to where it's supposed to go. And if I come over here and I go into comp in and I say drain all, and I look at production, these eventually will go away. So we can close all that off, and it goes away. So then, what do we need? What do we need to make this do what we want it to do? What I want it to do, and I want it to do what? Okay, let's, we're gonna grab a box, and we're going to delete this. We couldn't do that though. If I set trying to think. If I was gonna say, my thought was this: we take this off, we come here, we get ourselves a this guy here. We turn it on. We say we whitelist ammo components hand tools, and we say add. Then in theory, when I come over here now, I should be able to say, okay, I want 1,000 components, and it should run out of ingot iron. So if comp in is set to drain all, see, it's not draining. Why aren't you draining? Because nothing can go past this. Nothing is allowed past this point. So unless this is set to drain all, and because it can't, because it's a one-way valve, it can't access the ore. So this has to be inside the loop. On the other side of this has to be a feeder tube from the other side. So then, okay. We're going to sort this out today, fellas. You know what, we're just going to do a T because I'm probably going to need another junction at some point, so. Okay, now we have that. So now the assembler is able to make the stuff. That guy's draining out all the components and stuff. This loop is very confusing to me. It's not clear cut. I wanted it to be clear cut, and it's not. I feel like I've not answered any solutions. This just seems more confusing than it was. So I'm capable of pulling stuff out. So here's what we got. Here's the layout. We've got an ore drainer that drains all the ore into this system. Period. Okay, so the way I would imagine this works. Let's just do a rough analysis. So the way I imagine all of this would work. And I know Splitsy did a video on this, so you can I know. So we have this guy. And then from this guy we have a thing. This goes in, and then from here we have a landing guy. Let's just, you know, this guy lands, you bring your ore in. This is set to ores. Or in solo. I don't know why I called it that, but I did. We're going to whitelist. We're going to say ores. And we're going to add. So we've got the ore in. This goes in. The next place it needs to be able to see the ore is a storage container. Really, realistically. So let's just use a small storage container for sake of. So we have all the ores get fed through there. And then we might need another. This would also be another ore one, right? Because we want ingots out. So we blacklist, no, we whitelist, and we say ingots add. And so the problem with this scenario, okay, let's copy them. That's gonna, yep, it's gonna mess all that up. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. So we're gonna need a storage unit there, and then there, and then Okay. So all the ore for this guy, whitelist, we do ore, add. This dumps into the ingots, so we can come over here and we can say, okay, I need iron ore. We go blah, 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 blah. Obviously, that's 60k iron. That's being pumped into here. We set that to drain all. That's being dumped into here. All the ore is getting stuck in that. And then this is processing. This then drains all ingots into this guy. And that's what's happening. So that loop right there. Now, so we need a storage side to take in the ore. We need a storage container to take the ingots because that's the way that would work. There's not really a way to hide it with these container things like the way I wanted to. I had this idea of like making it look very industrial and it's not working. And then from here, what we would need is an out and an in. So we would need a loop because what we're doing effectively, we're going to have an in and an out. And then what happens, this goes here, this goes here, and then, and why do we need this? We need this because, let's see, where's the, I need that block picker mod, I'm telling you. Every time I don't have it, I'm like, dang, I really needed that. Could have used that right now. Do that. That. So, okay, so now this says we still want to drain whitelist. We still want all the ingots coming out of this. And we're going to add ingots and we're going to say drain all. Why? Because we want to be able to do that. But this one right here also needs to just whitelist ingots as well. So we whitelist ingots, we add. And what's happening here now, so we get the ingots here. This allows access to the ingots, so then we can come over to our assembler and we can say, I need to make 1,000 of these. And out of this, now, oh my goodness, this is getting more complicated than it really needs to be. But that's okay, we're going to figure it out. Now when we do this, one more container, and this guy here, whitelist components and all things. So whitelist, ammo components, hand tools, add, drain all. And now what we've got is everything this guy produces is coming out of there. And then when this is done producing, that guy clears out the ingots. So we have this sends the ore to this container. This processes the ore. This sends the ingots to this container. This says, hey, you have access to the ore, but we're going to take it back every single time. And then that says, hey, you have access to the components. And then everything we would do as a builder would be on the other side of this
Energy
guy right
low.
here. We'd want to make sure that everything we do comes out on the other end of that. Now the only loop where this might be an issue is if we had an ice situation. We may need to diverge this connection to go to O2 tanks and other things would be how that works. And that would work. So the process would be we get the ore, guy processes the ore, this guy sends the ingots here, we have that, and then this guy here is like, hey, I can make stuff with those ingots, thank you. And then this is like, hey, give me those back when you're done because you're not going to use them forever and ever and ever, and I'm going to keep this loop going. And then this guy says, hey, whatever components you need, let's say you need some steel plates, bada boom, bada bing, I got you covered, fam. And that's what that does. So that is how we would do inventory management dirtily without Izzy's. Now, what does that mean for this little experiment? For me, it means if we wanted to make a cool like base, that we would need to design it and to hide some of this infrastructure because it doesn't look bad, but like I like the idea of like these cargo containers sitting on top of one another, and I think that would be kind of neat to see those. And then like one of the cargo containers, obviously, like we could just have a right here. We could just have a conveyor port that goes to the ceiling and is effectively the the docking bay for whatever ship we use, or we can hide that under, or whatever the case may be. So, and then if we really wanted to diverge, if we wanted to get crazy, we'd come here and we'd say, okay, we need this guy, this guy there, and then let's see, and that guy here, here, and then we would say, where's my tanks? Got an oxygen tank, and then we got ourselves hydrogen tank,
Energy critical.
and then just for grins, let's slap one of these down so I can get myself some energy. There we go. And then now, so I fly my ship in, I'm like, okay, I got some ice. I got a load of ice. What can I do with that? Here we go. Spawn, spawn. We got a couple thousand ice. That's going to get dumped out of there. It's immediately going to go to here. This can't process it, so it doesn't care. And it gets stuck because this only does ingots. See, that's why we test. This is why we test out layouts, so that we understand what we're looking at. And then, because if I throw this down here, and then I come over here and I say, this now gets O2 generator, which means this should be filling up. Maybe. It is, yeah. And then this should also be filling up. So we would have to have all of the piping for the ore run to our O2 and H2. And anything depleting the ore needs to go to the refinery. And then the only place that's going to be wonky about constantly in a loop would be this guy here, because it's going to constantly drain all and say, give me that stuff, give me that stuff, give me that stuff, give me that stuff, until it's done. And because this doesn't impact gas, I can now get gas from our tanks here, as long as they are before the ingot loop, or they're in between the ingot loop, which is this guy here, and they're in between the ore loop. O2 generators and stuff will be able to function perfectly. This is why sorter blocks are not used. This is why the Izzy script exists. I feel like the complication here, because it's not a smooth and easy process. So how do we make this look cool? I don't know. That's kind of my question. Now, in one idea, now that I'm seeing all this, we take and we get rid of all these blocks. And in between the containers, right, in between green and let's say green and yellow here, we have the refinery. And then, let's see. Oh my gosh. We have the refinery kind of sit like in between containers. And I don't think there's a way. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to time lapse really quick. Maybe. Let me think about it. We're at 15 minutes. We're already at 15 minutes for my dumb explanation that I did. I don't know that I explained to you anything. I don't know if I've done a single good job for you people. Yo, people. I come to you trying to beg gifts. Okay, you know what we're going to do? I got an idea. Just to clean this up quicker, we just go Nope, that is not what we do. I didn't do anything what I wanted to do. Alright. Breet. 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 What is going on here? Could you please? Alfita saying, oh, no! That's okay. So, basically, how would I make that look? I'm going to design this, and maybe before next episode. This is a short one. Like I said, it's not a short episode, but I need to. I'm on a weird time crunch right this second. So now that we know what exactly we've done, sort of, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this, and once I build it, I'm gonna before next episode I'm gonna showcase it, and then we're gonna take the Elder Dagron, and I believe we're gonna go visit an unknown signal. I don't know which one this is, and if we take, where's my guy? Let's go. We're gonna cheat just a specific one because it's not gonna be this one. So remember this number, 9,500 and some odd kilometers away is the unknown signal over here, and we're gonna take a look and see what this one is. If it's one we could have done or if it's not. And the only reason I'm doing this is because I'm not gonna, we're just gonna run up on these guys next time. But like this one this is the little baby hidden base, I believe. Yeah, this appears to be the baby hidden base with the, yeah, oh, this is a good one. This is a good one because it's not it's the one with the engine. It's got an engine in it, and that's it. And you just got to disable the things. This is a cool one. This is like step one. This is one of the ones I would want to find. I wouldn't want to, the drill one first is something else. And I wouldn't want to find the drill one first. There we go. So, yeah, I don't know if this was helpful at all, guys. This is kind of a weird one. I feel like I've confused more people than I haven't. Maybe it's just me. I guess we'll find out soon if you guys are like, what the F, Tater? Shit was not useful. But I am going to design this. I want to design like a little landing, like just a base that I could prop up. Like, okay, you're starting off. This is the first little outpost you'd build to have all the things functional and be useful. Obviously, it would be a projector after you've gotten through your basic refineries and stuff. I don't think I would set one up for a refinery. Maybe that's what I need, is a little basic refinery outpost. And that's what we're going to do next time. I don't know. If you guys enjoyed this and you thought it was at least somewhat helpful, like it. Or don't. Leave a comment down below, please. If you think that was just nonsense and I should never do this again, also leave that down below. I feel like my struggles with Season 1 drones, like this was indicative of that. I had a better plan. I thought I understood exactly how these things worked. I didn't, but I learned. I learned today. We learned together. So, all right. Yeah, with that, I still can't wave. No one's shocked. And I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll be back to a regular schedule. Friday's episode will be the Elder Dagron doing work and delivering the message of the Tater to the people. That's what we're going to do. So I'll catch you later, Taters, and as always, be kind. Bye.